Papa Chinazu, are you not ashamed of yourself? Just take a look at yourself. In your condition, you're not supposed to still have an erection. You are supposed to be castrated. Tufiakwa, I am ashamed on our behalf. Many years ago, in the beautiful village of Amachara, lived a young man named Okoro. He was the only son of his parents who were poor farmers. Growing up, Okoro had seen people mock his parents because they had only one child. The people of Amachara were mainly farmers, and it was believed that the more the children a man had, the more successful his farm would be. Since it was not easy to get laborers at that time, most families concentrated on giving birth to several children, especially sons, who would help them work on their farm. And so, the number of children you had determined how successful and wealthy you would be. Okoro's parents had only one son, hence they could not cultivate much, and so they died poor. However, all that happened left an indelible impression on Okoro. It broke his heart to see how his parents were mocked, and so he vowed that he would have as many children as possible. He would go to any length to remove the shame from his parents' name, even in their deaths. This was the mentality Okoro grew up with and eventually got married with also. After the death of his parents, Okoro decided to leave the village since there was nothing tangible for him to do there. He moved to Afikpo town where there were better opportunities, and so he did not have to rely on farming. Okoro got a security job at a bakery, and he soon rented a one-room apartment not too far from his place of work. After working for some months, Okoro decided that it was time to get married and start up his large family. He met a young lady named Uzoma, who worked in the bakery also as a laborer. They grew closer day by day, and when Okoro asked her to marry him, Uzoma gladly accepted. Before getting married though, Okoro would always tell Uzoma that he wanted to have a large family, and when she asked him how many children he wanted, Okoro would bluntly tell her 20 children. Uzoma would laugh at him, thinking that he was obviously joking. However, Okoro would always tell her about this, and Uzoma just concluded that going by his income, he would be okay with 4 or 5 children. They soon got married in a really small style and started to live their simple but happy lives. The house they lived in was a very large one that accommodated several other families also. The landlord of the house also lived there with his family, and it was more like a communal living for everyone. It did not take long before Uzoma became pregnant, and Okoro was really excited. He could not wait to be a father. As the pregnancy grew closer to its end, Uzoma stopped working at the bakery, and it did not take long before she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. Okoro could not contain his joy. He was a father to a son, and if they were in the village, he would have had to kill a male goat to welcome his son into the world. But deep down, Okoro would have been more glad if his wife gave birth to a twin or even triplets. But that notwithstanding, this was a great place to start from. Since both Okoro and Uzoma were orphans, they had no relatives to come for Omugwo. It was their neighbors who took turns in coming to help Uzoma look after the baby. It continued this way until Uzoma became stronger to do everything by herself. 3 months after Uzoma gave birth, she found out that she was pregnant again. She was scared, but when she told Okoro about it, he jumped up for joy. "Are you serious? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Uzo, for not bringing shame to me." Uzo did not expect his reaction and called his mind back. "My husband, this is not right. We are supposed to wait for at least 1 year before having another child." What if something goes wrong, coupled with the fact that we are not even buoyant to cater for another baby now? Okoro laughed at Uzoma's way of thinking and told her, "Don't you know that children are blessings from God? And a man that is privileged to have them plenty in his house is truly favored. Like I have always told you, I want to have as many children as possible, and don't bother yourself about how we will take care of them. The same God that gave them to us will surely make a way for us to take care of them. So don't worry, my lovely wife. I am with you in this." It did not take long before Uzoma's stomach started to shoot out, and all the neighbors knew that she was pregnant. They were shocked, but then they did not take it to heart, believing that it was her first time, and so she did not know the necessary precautions to take. They believed that she must have learnt her lesson and she would be wiser henceforth. The women were also kind towards her, and 9 months later, when she gave birth, they stood by her, giving her all the support she needed. There was a particular lady in the compound named Meso, who was closer to Uzoma than other women. She was a single lady and lived alone. Meso would always come over to assist Uzoma and keep her company whenever Okoro went for night duty. Just when their first son was 1 year and 6 months, Uzoma found out that she was pregnant yet again. This time around, she did not tell Okoro. She confided in Meso instead. Meso was shocked to her bone. "Uzoma, what is it? Is it so sweet that you and your husband cannot hold yourselves? But even if your husband cannot control himself, why can't you pity yourself? You are the one who will suffer the weight of the pregnancy alone and look after these children when your husband goes to his work. Even if you want to have these children, at least space them out so that they can enjoy the love and attention they deserve before a new baby comes in. It is really not fair on them." Uzoma was really ashamed of herself. She did not know what to say or do. She only burst out crying. She was carrying her 6-month-old baby in her arms while her first son was sleeping on the bed. When Okoro returned home, he met Uzoma crying, looking at the 2 children sleeping on the bed. He was scared, thinking that something had happened to them. But when she told him that it was because she found out that she was pregnant, Okoro was surprised. "Uzo, is that why you are crying? Do you know how people have been praying to have this kind of blessings, but they have not been able to have it? We should be grateful for having the gift that money cannot buy. My lovely wife, you indeed are a true blessing to me. What people use in mocking my parents is what I am getting easily, free of charge. Please clean your tears. This is a thing of joy." Uzoma sat there looking at her husband. She could not understand his line of thoughts. How could a full-grown man who had a very low-paying job that can barely feed his existing family still long to add more numbers to his family? What is it with his unusual love for many children? Was this just love or was it selfishness? Uzoma was really scared, but she tried to console herself that it was not the end of the world. After all, it was just her third child. It did not take long before Uzoma's stomach started to protrude, a sign of another pregnancy, and this time around, the once kind and helpful neighbors could not keep calm. They poured out their minds to her plainly. "Uzoma, don't tell me that this is another pregnancy, or are my eyes paining me? Don't you know what is family planning? As young as you are giving birth like a hen. Another one would see her and condemn her too. Okay, It is because we usually come to help you when you give birth, right? That is why you don't know that taking care of a child is stressful. You and your husband are so carried away that you too don't know that you're supposed to space your children. Continue. Oh. If you like, born every 6 months, you will suffer it alone in this your one-room apartment. Uzoma would face this ridicule and insults from women who had once been kind to her before. Each time, she would run back inside the house and cry her eyes out. The ridicule became too much that she was even ashamed to go out for fear of what people would say to her. All through this, Okoro supported her and kept encouraging her to see it as God's way of blessing them. Uzoma pulled through, and months later she gave birth to a set of twins, a boy and a girl. Okoro could not hide his excitement. He did not care about what anyone was saying behind him or in front of him. In fact, whenever anyone dared to say something unpleasant to him, he would fire back immediately. When did having children become a bad thing? I understand that you cannot have them, maybe because you are not man enough, or your wife does not have the ability to. I am man enough, and my wife also is equal to the task. So please, leave us alone to enjoy the free blessings that God has decided to shower on us. Okoro never gave anybody any chance to make him feel bad about giving birth to many children back to back. This time around, the men warned their wives to stay away from Okoro and his wife, and so it was only 1 or 2 women that secretly went to help her with after-birth child care. Her friend Meso also stood by her, giving her all the support she wanted. However, Meso began to pester her to go and do family planning. See, Uzoma, I know that your husband cannot control his manhood. He will soon come knocking again, and you're such a good goalkeeper, you don't even know how to say no. So please, you need to go to the hospital to get a birth control. At least that way, you guys can continue playing your football game. But it will be a goalless game, because I don't understand. It seems your plan is to have a complete football team plus extra players. 4 children in 3 years already? No, it's enough. But surprisingly, Uzoma told her that she was not up for family planning. I can't do that thing, no. I have heard of so many women that did it and they started to fall sick. Some could not even get pregnant again because of it. I can't risk it all. And besides, my husband would not be in support of it. Don't worry, I will be careful this time around. Meso looked at Uzoma as if to use a long whip to flog sense into her brain. But then, she was an adult and could not be forced to do what she didn't want to. She only continued to pester her, hoping that one day she would accept to and go do the family planning. Uzoma was no longer comfortable living in the compound, and so she began to disturb Okoro for them to move out of the house into another one where no one knew about them. Okoro saw reasons with her and decided to not renew the rent. Rather, he would add some money to the current money for their rent and get a new place. It did not take long before Okoro moved out with his not so little family into a bigger but same one-room apartment. Filled with the excitement of the new apartment, every night he would not let Uzoma sleep. He would always disturb her for his conjugal rights, and unlike before at the former house where she was ashamed, Uzoma would gladly give in to him. There was barely any night when Okoro would not knock on his wife's door. They were both lost in a world of their own and did not care about any other thing. Their watchword was Chinazu, meaning God would train a child, such that people soon started to call them Papa Chinazu and Mama Chinazu, even when none of their children's name was Chinazu. Uzoma was such a good goalkeeper that she successfully caught as much goals Okoro scored, and before they knew it, in a space of 7 years, they already had 9 children, 6 boys and 3 girls, with 2 sets of twins inclusive. At this point, Uzoma started to get wiser because life was getting more and more difficult for them. Okoro still worked as a security man in the bakery, while she had not been able to work since she started to put to bed. She was strict about her restrictions this time around and would not let Okoro touch her recklessly. In all of this, what still baffled her was the fact that in spite of all this, her husband was not still feeling worried or remorseful. If he had his way, he would still continue making more babies. No. I can't keep up with this. I need to do something before this man turns me into a factory. A factory? Am I not a factory already? Uzoma, was this what you wanted for yourself? I can't even give my children the proper care and attention they need. If I were not their mother, I would not even know their names. Uzoma continued to beat herself up, but she still would not consider doing a birth control method. The last time she thought of it, she changed her mind about it because she knew that sooner or later Okoro would find out and she would be forced to take it out, and so it was not a permanent solution for their problem. She needed something permanent, or rather something that would teach Okoro a bitter lesson and make him learn the hard way. Even if it was late by now, it was still better than doing nothing and continuing bearing more children. Uzoma was hanging on a tiny thread at this time, and the incident that happened one fateful night just cut off the last tiny thread. Her last baby was just 4 months at the time when Okoro came back that night, looking at Uzoma as if she was a sumptuous meal he wanted to devour. Uzoma pretended to not notice it as she served him his food. After eating, Okoro grabbed Uzoma's waist, but she pushed his hands away. Okoro felt she was just playing hard to get, and he held her waist again, teasing her. Uzi love, Uzi my goalkeeper, the mother of my squad, come to Papilo. Okoro tried his normal tricks that usually got Uzoma to fall flat for him, but this time around, he did not work. Rather than Uzoma blushing sheepishly, she was irritated at him. Papa Chinazu, are you not ashamed of yourself? Just take a look at yourself. In your condition, you're not supposed to still have an erection. You are supposed to be castrated. Tufiakwa, I am ashamed on our behalf. Okoro was taken aback. What is that supposed to mean? Am I not supposed to touch my wife again? Or is it my fault that I am a sharpshooter? There are so many men praying to even score a single goal, but they cannot. I am proud of myself. I am a real man. You are my wife and you won't deny me my rights. With that, Okoro chased after Uzoma, who quickly ran and carried her last baby to shield herself. The husband and wife continued to run around the room while their children slept. Okoro saw that Uzoma was serious about not giving in, and so he had to forcefully calm himself and go lie down to sleep. Uzoma could not sleep that night. This was the height of it. She could not bear this again. How could a poor man still have an erection when his fellow men are busy thinking of how to make money and give their children a better life? She looked at her 9 children who were sleeping soundly, and hot tears poured down from her cheeks. I am sorry. I am really sorry for bringing you all into this world like this. I am sorry for what I am about to do, but it is for the best. I wish I had acted differently from the beginning. I love you all, but Uzoma cried bitterly, trying so hard to sniff in any sound that might awaken the children. She quietly went and packed her clothes and those of her two youngest babies. She packed them all in a bag, strapped her 6-month-old baby on her back, carried the little toddler in her arms, and sneaked out of the house that cold night. As she walked down the lonely road, she held on tightly to her toddler to give her moral courage and support. She walked and walked, and before morning, she was long gone. In the morning, it was the cry of the children that woke Okoro up from his sweet sleep. He opened his eyes and told them to go meet their mother, but the children would not move away. The eldest son, which was just 7, could barely control his siblings. They started to cry loudly, and Okoro had to wake up to find out what Uzoma was doing, that she neglected the children. But he could not find her anywhere, and when he asked his children, they said they had not seen their mother and their youngest siblings. Okoro did not think much of it. He quickly went to prepare cornmeal for them and fed them. He also brushed their teeth and bathed them. By the time he was done with the 7 children, the morning was already far gone, and yet Uzoma was not back from wherever she went to. He could not go to work that day because he could not leave the children all by themselves. By the time he finished washing their clothes and tending to the toddlers among them, it was already past noon, and Okoro had not eaten or had a bath. The children soon started to cry again for food, and he had to quickly prepare a pot of rice for them. He then went in to take his bath, but by the time he came back, he was shocked to see his children devouring the pot of rice. They had almost finished it without remaining any for him. They looked at him smiling with satisfaction, and Okoro did not know whether to laugh or cry. He had hoped to share the rice among everybody, including himself, but it even seemed as if the rice was not enough for them. Okoro waited for Uzoma, and when he had still not seen her that evening, he had to go check her clothes, and only then did he finally realize that maybe, just maybe, she had run away. But he did not want to believe that, and he hoped for her to return quick. But days later, she still had not returned, and Okoro finally accepted his fate. Uzoma had left him to take care of his 7 children all alone. It was really wicked of her to do that to him, so Okoro thought, but he still had not finished thinking about it when the 5th, 6th, and 7th children came to him crying for their mother. Okoro did not know what to do to pacify them. But then they were his children, and he could not chase them away, and so he held the 3 children in his arms and consoled them. For 3 days, Okoro had not gone to work, and so he had to beg one of his neighbors to help him look over his children so that he could quickly go to report at work. The woman accepted, and Okoro rushed over to work. But by the time he came back in the evening, all the children were crying, and the woman shouted at him out of frustration, "Papa Chinazu, don't ever try this thing you did with me again. How will you leave your children with me and stay out for many hours? I thought you were just gone for a few minutes. Please, I gave birth to the amount I can take care of. Don't come and add your burden to me. And besides, where is your wife? I haven't seen her for long. It seems she has left you and ran away. If I were in her shoes, I would do the same too. I can't come and kill myself because of..." No. Okoro felt humiliated and insulted. And for the first time, he felt it in his heart that he was being told the truth. Honestly, it has not been easy for him taking care of these children all alone for these few days. He never knew this was what Uzoma had to deal with for all these years all alone. He tried to look for someone who would help him take care of the children while he went to work, but unfortunately, Any lady or woman he told would outrightly refuse and walk away from him. Okoro was confused and frustrated at this point. He could not believe that he would not be able to take care of his own children by himself. If not for cornmeal and rice, who knows what else he would have been able to feed them with? He could not even eat well because after feeding them, there would be barely enough left for him to eat. And for the first time in 9 years, Okoro cried because of his stupidity. He realized that he had been stupid to think that having plenty children was a blessing without having a plan for them or weighing the implications of raising and caring for them. Oh God, this blessing is too much. What do I do with them? How do I look after them? I can't run away. Oh, if there was a way to take them back, I would return 8 of them and keep only 1. Okoro was still lost in his self-pity when the youngest among them started to cry for food. And then at the same time, the twins came to meet him. Daddy, I want to poo-poo. Okoro just sat there looking at them lost, and he felt like collapsing. This was what Okoro's life turned into over the weeks. He would bathe, feed, clothe and babysit his children, as well as doing all the house chores. And in 1 month, he had lost so much body weight and was now a shadow of himself. And then, one fateful Sunday evening, exactly 5 weeks after Uzoma left, she came back and knocked on the door. Okoro, who was carrying the youngest toddler on his back while controlling the others, went to open the door and was shocked to see Uzoma standing there with his 2 youngest children. Immediately, the other children saw her. They ran and hugged her, shouting, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." Okoro too subconsciously hugged her, calling her mommy. Uzoma was surprised, but before she could say anything, Okoro started to apologize to her for being selfish and stupid. "Our mommy, I am very sorry. I never knew this was what you have to deal with all these years all alone. You are stronger than I can imagine, and you are selfless too, to bear the burden of what I put you through out of my poor mentality. Now I know that even though children are a gift from God, it would be selfish for us to bring them into this world without any proper plan for them. If I had known, we would have given birth to only 1 child and been able to give him the best of life. But now that we have 9 children, please, Uzoma, I want to beg you, don't leave us again. I promise I will work hard. I will go out and engage in different businesses. I will ensure to give you and our 9 children a comfortable life. Please, Uzi, don't leave us alone." Okoro cried. Uzoma was really surprised at the words her husband spoke. So it took only leaving him alone with his children for 1 month to get him to think on the right track. Wow. Oh wow. She remembered one thing and asked, "Papa Chinazu, you know that you're a very sharp shooter. I am afraid of staying under the same roof with you for fear of what you can do." Okoro immediately protested. "No, Uzi, please don't call me Papa Chinazu. Now I know that even though God gives me the children, it is still me that will have to train and care for them. As for the scoring of goals, please, you don't need to be afraid. I will go with you to do the family planning, even if it means them doing it for me too. I heard they also do for men. I don't mind. These 9 children we have are more than enough. Let's just team up and raise them together." Uzoma's heart melted. Finally, she got her results. Even though it came late, it was better than nothing. She apologized to Okoro and her children for abandoning them. She was at the verge of losing her mind, coupled with the fact that Okoro was not reasoning on the same level with her, and so she had to get away from everything. She went to her friend's place, Meso, who accommodated her for these 5 weeks. Okoro followed Uzoma to the hospital the next day and he opted for a vasectomy. Even after Uzoma decided to put an IUD, he just wanted to be extra safe and not take any chances at all. He had learnt his lessons the hard way and would not wish for anyone to be in his shoes. Okoro never spared any moment to tell everyone who cared to listen about the disadvantages of giving birth to a large amount of children that you can care for, and also the downsides of not spacing them. In the spirit of Children's Day, I decided to do this story for our parents. Psalms 127 verse 3 says, "Children are a gift from God, a blessing from Him." These children are gifts given to us in trust by God, and He expects us to be a good shepherd to them by tending them and raising them well. It would be selfish of us to go on bringing these little ones into this world just to satisfy our longing for a large family without having what it takes to care for a large family. We all know that it is God that gives children, but we should also be mindful of our capacity and give birth to them according to our capacity. We have many abused children, damaged children, neglected children in our world today because these parents do not bother about being a good shepherd to them. These little ones are like vulnerable sheep, and when the shepherd is not able to look after them, the wolves come in and devour them. So, let this story serve as an awareness to all parents to be present and fully involved, to be intentional and have only as much children as you can cater and care for, and then God will surely do His part by perfecting it for you. Truly, Chinazu, God trains, but you, the earthly parents, raise them up. I wish a happy Children's Day to all our children, and I pray that their light continues to shine brighter. Thank you for watching the story. Please let me know what you loved about the story and what morals you learned from the story.